not watch me.
Make it part of your video. Make like my boyfriend's laughing.
My boyfriend's laughing at me. Hi everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I go by Lauren Roy Nasty over on Instagram if you found me there. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Or if you're returning, thanks, good to see you. Alright. Oh, I forgot to start my timer. Can you throw me my phone?
You switched. That's what it is. Your head is always on one pivot. That's what it is. Like, you don't know it. Like, if you were to look up, you'd go like you'd be like, that's what it is. I just realized that.
I'm like a 2D plane. And so, from the title you could tell, I'm going to be talking about the Instagram famous, I guess it's all over Instagram, MAKIAGE. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, I'm going to prep my face doing my normal thing. I spray with the rose water from Mario Badescu. And I think I'm going to use, got a little in my mouth. I think I'm going to use my Hydro primer from Milk Makeup. I've been really liking that primer. And I'm into it for the summer because it's a sticky base. I like it a lot. Creates a good canvas for your makeup. If you could tell from the title, I'm gonna try not to give that much away, but I don't particularly like the MAKIAGE foundation. So I've already tried it out a couple of times. I took it on vacation with me when I went to go see my sister in Denver. And when I go to Denver, my skin is always, it's a little more dry just because of the climate. But I just really, even back here in, you know, over on the East Coast, the humidity is up, and I still just don't like the way the foundation is laying on my face. So, I think I'm going to end up returning it. I'm pretty sure I will. But I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison so you can see what this specific formula, I woke up like this. Yeah, woke up like this in the shade 040. I'm also going to talk about the selection process for how I was given this shade because, you know, it's supposed to be like your perfect shade, your perfect formula, all that. I don't think that the system was that bad, but I don't think it was my favorite. So I wanted to go over the selection process for your shade and formula really quick. So I just looked up MAKIAGE and I did the first thing, the Meet Your Power Match. And as you all know, I have very oily skin, but I have combo skin because I do have some dry patches. And when I was selecting the coverage, I went with the light to medium because it's buildable. That's what I prefer my foundations to be. I also didn't want anything super matte or super dewy, so I went with the natural finish. And I'm not super white, I'm just light, so I went with light. Even if I seem super white to everyone else, I'm just white. But also for this, I chose neutral. It does this little thing where it like says, are you freaking sure that you're neutral undertones? And I'm like, yes, because I don't like when anything pulls too pink or too yellow on me. So I like it right in the middle. And then it asked me about like, you know, how I use my foundation, like brushes and stuff, and how I prep my skin. And then, sorry, I like skipped a bunch of questions. I'm like recording over this while it's going through. But this was a weird part. So you select your foundation, and I've been using the L'Oreal Stay Fresh for not that long, but these are not my shades. None of these shades that they put are my shade. I just picked the closest one. I don't know why they only gave me that selection of shades, but it's kind of weird. And then it asked me about like my different skin concerns, stuff like that. And so, you know, I picked like a couple of things. I have some dry patches, usually only in the winter, but I still said it was a thing. Then I picked my age. And it says finding your match, like it's really like, you know, oh, we're working so hard to find your match. But it's really not that customized. I found this whole thing to basically just be, oh my god, so really quick, this whole thing came out to $53.36. So like, it's kind of insane because, that's a lot. Like, I don't even pay that much for Fenty. How much is Fenty? Like 30-something dollars? Maybe 42? I don't remember, but you know, the fact that you're paying all of this all together
Like, you know, with the tax and the shipping and the actual product, it ends up being like $53.36. It's only in New York because I got it shipped to New York. New York taxes are high. I know that, but still, it's an expensive foundation. So, you end up paying the $5 plus tax, like they advertise everywhere. Like, you're only paying $5 shipping, but, you know, you're going to pay the tax. And in New York, it ends up being about $10 altogether with the tax on it. So it's not a cheap foundation, but that's basically where I landed. So what I thought of the selection process was that you really aren't doing like an in-depth, like customized shade. They already have a shade range and they just pick whatever they think is closest to your shade. I ended up not really liking the shade match. I think in the video I said I was okay with it. But, you know, in person, it was a really stark difference. It definitely pulled pink on me. And maybe I should have picked the yellow, you know, kind of like undertones because I really would have preferred that. But all in all, it was okay. It just wasn't as custom as they, you know, made it out to be. And the fact that you're not only paying $5 shipping, you're paying $5 shipping and tax. So, you know what? I ended up paying $9 for this foundation that I ended up returning anyway. So that's where I landed with that. Not sure if I loved it. I don't think it was a great, like, customized shade selection. That's it. All right. Back to the video.
But, you know, I ended up with this formula, woke up like this, in the shade 40. So that's what Il Makiage thought I was. So I thought I'd try it out and see how it went. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do one side of my face with a brush and we're going to do one side with the Real Technique sponge, because if you've ever been on my channel before, you know that I just love a sponge applicator. I think that it just lays down the product really well. It keeps your face moisturized and you just look better. Like, I really don't like putting foundation on with a brush, but Il Makiage, they're really into applying foundation with a brush. And they have their own specific brushes. But I didn't want to get that. I just wanted to see how it would work. Like, you know, this is it comes down to about $55. This is overall an expensive foundation. And I just wanted to talk about whether it was worth the money or if it compares to things like L'Oreal Infallible, because that's honestly what I compare this foundation to when I apply it with a sponge. But I like the way the Infallible from L'Oreal sits on my face better than Il Makiage. But let's get into it anyway. Il Makiage says that you should put the foundation 2 pumps on the back of your hand and warm it up a little bit. And then just like place it on. And I'm only doing half my face. But this is 2 pumps still. Because I feel like this claimed to be medium to full buildable coverage. And I just felt like it was medium. Definitely buildable, like I was able to get some coverage out of it, but it's just not my favorite, you know? And right now I'm just using a regular dense kabuki. So this is the amount they recommend you put on your whole face, but I'm just putting it on one side of my face because I want to do a sponge on the other side. It's probably going to be a little problematic since this is going to give me a lot more coverage on this side, while the other side is going to be way more sheared out. By the way, this is a kabuki brush from BS Mall. I got these brushes on Amazon. I did a test with them. I don't know if I ever uploaded that video, but I tested them out and they're pretty good sponges for the fact that they're from Amazon. And I think they were like $13.99. I could link them down below. I'll check it out. Alright, so this isn't a bad foundation. I think you could see my face looks covered. It looks pretty nice. I still have a little bit of darkness peeking through, but this foundation doesn't claim to be a concealing foundation, so you can't hold that against it. I think it looks good. It just doesn't look $55 good. You know what I'm saying? Like, who wants to spend that much on a foundation when it just looks good? Like, it should look amazing. This should be a foundation that is changing my life, in my opinion, if it's $55. So I'm going to do 2 pumps on the back of my hand. And and I'm going to warm it up and then place it on my face. And I'm probably going to have to go in again just because I am using a sponge, so a lot of the product is going to be absorbed. But I'm going in with the Real Technique sponge that I already cleaned and wet. Like, this to me just looks so much more natural. It blends into the skin. It really feels like the foundation isn't sitting on top of my skin. But they really do. Il Makiage recommends so strongly that you use a foundation brush, and specifically the foundation brush they sell. And I'm just not into that. Yeah, it's not too bad. You can actually see quite a difference. It looks a little darker on this side. I'm assuming that, you know, the foundation is just dried down a little bit more on this side. I think I am going to add a little product to this just so that it looks a little more even. So I'm just adding one more pump to this side, so technically I have 2 on the brush side and 3 on the sponge side. Alright, so I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit so you can really get a look at either side. So this is the sponge side. Take a good look at that. And this is the brush side. I think that they both look pretty similar, but I think that I like the sponge side better. There's something about it. It looks a little less cakey. A sponge is going to take off excess product. I think it just does a good job at that. And I think I'm just going to clean up the brush side a little bit. Because it doesn't leave, that brush is pretty nice. I like that foundation brush. It doesn't leave brush marks. You could tell, like, it looks pretty even. There's no strokes or anything. It's just that I feel like the brush makes my skin look drier. Like, it makes the foundation kind of break apart more quickly. And that's why I've just never been a fan of brushes. I have kind of sensitive skin. I have combo skin. But I just feel like a sponge does an amazing job of placing product on my skin. Alright, so now I'm just, don't want to get too close. Now I'm just going to do my regular routine, my Maybelline Age Rewind, just under the eyes. I'm not going to do a lot of coverage on the rest of the face. As of late, I haven't been baking, but what I have been doing is just placing a little bit of powder in the spots that I need it. So I'm going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter loose powder in the shade Butter. I'm going to go on my lid and under my eye. Make sure that my concealer isn't creasing. A good thing about this foundation is it did give me a matte or like semi-matte formula, which I prefer because I do have oily skin. And so it's actually a very nice matte formula in the sense that it's not super drying, it doesn't make your skin feel like stiff or anything, and it kind of sets itself, but I do have that off-putting feeling of using a brush and it just looking piecey and making my skin look a little more dry than it really should. But you don't need a lot of powder if you are an oily girl or an oily boy or anything in between and you've just got some oily skin. This foundation I think will come through for you pretty well. I don't know about their other matte formulas, they just sent me this one because it was customized for my skin. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to zoom you in again, right above my lip. So I gotta get into frame like this. So I hope you can see it, but it's just like, it's starting to look like it's falling into any kind of crevices or pores. It's the problem I have with matte foundations. I used to, you can't even see, so over there. But I used to love matte foundations. They were my absolute favorite. But like 2 years ago, I just realized that my skin always looks so dry. And yes, I have oily skin, but I also have dry patches. And so I've started using illuminating or just, more just moisturizing products because yes, I'm oily, but maybe if I just put more oil on, I'm going to, balance out all the dry patches, and I just, I deal with the oil. I'm just a little bit shinier than others, and I'm fine with that. Alright, so I'm gonna go in with the rest of my base. I'm doing my Tartus Pro with my highlight and contour. I'm using the shade Stunner right there. That's my favorite shade in this palette for highlighting. I think it's the perfect in-between because it's not super blinding, super white or icy. And it's not too dark for my pale ass skin. And even though the shade picking, I didn't even get to look at the shades, it just selected 40 for me. I actually think it did a really nice job of selecting a shade. So I'm going to go in with my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Bronzer in the Sun. I can't really say that when I have my retainer in, it just feels a little unnatural. Alright, and lastly for my base makeup, I am going to put on a little bit of my favorite L'Oreal Enchanted blush in Just Curious. I love that stuff so much. I put way too much on. But I feel so cute. Alright, so I just went ahead and popped on my brows real quick because I just feel like everything looks a little bit more put together when your brows are on. But this is the base makeup right now. I think that you can't really tell a difference between the brush side and the sponge side. Maybe there's a little bit more coverage, but not really. You see a little bit of my spots coming through here. You see the veins. I don't know if you can see that so well. I'm going to try to zoom you in on that. But this part of my face, I get these little veins that pop out a little bit of, darkness and shadows from the blueness of that. And you could still see it. So this one side of my face does have 3 pumps of foundation. This sponge side, which is a lot. This has 2, and the fact that, you still see some things popping through. It does claim to be medium to full and that it's buildable, but the fact that I used 5 pumps of foundation on this face overall just goes to show that a little bit does not really go a long way. I'm, a little bit disappointed in the formula the past few times I've used it. This just isn't my favorite formula. I'm going to come back right after I finish my eye makeup and just set everything down so we can talk a little bit more, gather my thoughts, and I'm going to do a couple of little check-ins, probably only 2, after 4 hours, and then maybe after I get home from work just to show what the makeup wears like. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so I am done with my full face of makeup. I used the Kaja little orange blossom tree on my eyes again because I've been loving that. I used some Sonia Kashuk lashes I got at Target. They are in the style 635, and I did trim them a little bit, so they're usually a little longer, but they just need to be trimmed for my eye shape. So overall, this is what the face makeup looks like. I've set it, I've powdered it down. I think it looks okay, but I'm going to zoom you in onto my nose, because if you look on my nose, I hope you can see this. I'm going to try to get really close to the camera. But let's focus on my nose, okay. So it's you can see all of my pores and any kind of dry spots or kind of weird texture in my skin. I feel like it just really brings it out, and that's for both the brush side and the sponge side. I just feel like my skin looks really the foundation's really breaking apart. It looks really piecey, kind of cakey. And I think that is in part the fact that I have so much foundation on my face. And also, I wanted you to see the dry down of the foundation on my hand and the rest of my body and on my face. Because you can really tell that I'm pretty pale and my skin shifts really yellow, I think. I hope you can see it on the camera, but in real life, this is really peachy kind of orange, and my body skin is really olivey yellow. And it just, my face looks fine because it kind of matches my neck, but my face and my body look nothing alike. The foundation match just isn't that great. I'm gonna inevitably be returning this foundation because just, this whole situation, it really falls into my pores. You can really see them on my nose, and that's a real insecurity of mine, also because I have to blow my nose a lot because I have terrible allergies, so that's just another thing. But so this is everything. I'm going to check back in with you guys in a little bit. Right now it is 2:04. So I guess I'll check in again at about like 4 o'clock, and then after I get back from work, which is like in a really long time. So I'll see you guys in a little bit.
So I need to apologize to anyone that ever believed that I would do some check-ins. I really believed in myself. I got lazy, and then after I got home from work, I was just so lazy and tired. But I did take some pictures, so you know, those are going to be included right now. And so I just wanted to show that basically, like, these pictures are, you know, it's very up close. I don't know what was wrong with my camera, but it like wouldn't let me focus in on anything like that well, and it kept like cropping the screen. But you can see pretty easily that the foundation did not hold up super well. I should have used my Nikon. I literally just took these on my phone because I was like, I'm not taking the camera out. I'm not doing the whole shit right now. That's not what I want to do. I want to go to bed. So you could see it in my eyes, just like the sadness of like wanting to sleep. I was like, work was hard. Please let me sleep. But yeah, so at least my eyeshadow looked really good. It doesn't look that good in this picture, but like it still looked really nice in person. And my hair looks like shit. Oh my god, please just leave me alone. Don't look at my face. Why are you here on this video? Okay, so let's talk about the foundation. It broke apart on my forehead, most definitely, and on my nose and around my mouth. Like, those are the spots where I know it was bad. Like, if you look at, you know, this last picture, one of the vertical ones, you could see right next to my mouth, like where my mouth kind of downturns. Like, there's just no foundation left there. It looked kind of good in the spots where it really stayed, but, you know, it wasn't great. And these pictures were taken, let me see what time they were taken. So these were taken at 1:20 a.m. So it was, what, I finished my makeup around like 2. So this was 11 hours of wear. Yeah, so about 11 hours of wear. And, you know, it's a long time, but I think a makeup that, a foundation that is that expensive, it should really last a long time. So overall thoughts, I did return the foundation. I didn't enjoy it. I think if I got a little more control over what was selected for me, I would have ended up liking it. But I have no idea because I took the quiz and it gave me a foundation. So yeah, that is my overall review. I don't recommend Il Makiage, but everyone's face is different. Every single person's wallet is different. You have to make your own decisions when it comes to your makeup, but if any of my friends asked me if I liked it, I would tell them straight up no. So that's basically it. And I didn't have any kind of bad experiences with Il Makiage. Like, I didn't contact customer service for anything. Everything was super easy. Packaging wasn't bad. It wasn't super wasteful. The actual like parcel that it came in was recyclable. It was mostly just, you know, paper like boxes. The outside was plastic, obviously, because I said it. Oh, well, it's plastic recyclable. Sorry, I should have said that. All right, well, I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm going to close this video out. Thank you so much for watching it. I love you guys. I hope you are having a great day. And I hope you learned something, maybe about me, maybe about the makeup. All right, bye.